Welcome back to Pulse of the Planet, bringing you the latest news from around the world. In April 2025, President Trump upended decades of U.S. trade policy by imposing sweeping tariffs, up to 50%, on goods from over 60 countries, including close allies. These tariffs, justified under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEP, bypassed Congress and cited national security and public health concerns. The move blurred the lines between executive and legislative authority, raising questions about the limits of presidential power. The immediate fallout was chaos. Supply chains scrambled, ports clogged, and costs for American businesses soared. Companies faced a stark choice: absorb higher costs or pass them to consumers, fueling economic anxiety nationwide. America, once the champion of free trade, now wielded tariffs as leverage, straining alliances and shaking the global economic order. The president's bold action wasn't just about trade. It was a test of how far executive power could reach. The world watched as the U.S. shifted from architect of global trade to unpredictable actor. The stage was set for a constitutional showdown and a redefinition of America's role in the world. The consequences would ripple from boardrooms to kitchen tables across the country. Legal challenges erupted almost immediately, with business groups and lawmakers arguing the president had overstepped constitutional bounds. Lower courts sided with the challengers, ruling that IEPA didn't grant unchecked authority for sweeping tariffs. The Supreme Court took up the case, focusing on whether emergency powers could justify a massive overhaul of trade policy. The justices weighed the president's claims of emergency against Congress's explicit power over trade and taxation. On September 14, 2025, the court ruled the administration had exceeded its authority, reaffirming the separation of powers. The decision made clear only Congress can impose such broad economic measures. The ruling invalidated the tariffs, delivering a sharp rebuke to executive overreach. It was a constitutional reset, restoring the balance between branches of government. The outcome wasn't just about tariffs, it was about preserving the foundation of American democracy. The nation braced for the economic and political fallout. The Supreme Court's decision sent shockwaves through the economy. Tariffs had driven up prices on everything from groceries to electronics, pushing nearly 1 million Americans into poverty. Their removal promised relief, but experts warned it would take months for prices to fall. Manufacturers and farmers had suffered most, factories faced soaring costs, and farmers lost export markets to retaliatory tariffs. Layoffs and financial distress hit communities nationwide. The political blowback was swift. The president's signature policy was struck down, and the administration scrambled for alternatives. The White House explored slower, more targeted trade tools, but the damage was done. America's reputation as a reliable trading partner was shaken, with allies seeking new markets. The world entered a more fragmented era as nations hedged against future U.S. policy swings. The episode left lasting scars on both the economy and America's global standing. The challenge now: repair trust and restore stability. With the tariffs voided, the government faced the daunting task of refunding up to $1 trillion to businesses. The process promised months, if not years, of bureaucratic wrangling, as companies navigated a complex claim system. Many firms had already sold their refund rights to financial investors for quick cash, creating unexpected winners in the aftermath. Not all tariffs were affected. Sector-specific duties on steel and aluminum remained, adding to the patchwork of trade rules. The refunds could stimulate business investment but also strain the federal budget and complicate fiscal priorities. The economic impact was mixed. Some industries would see relief, others remained under protectionist measures. Unwinding the tariffs proved as disruptive as imposing them. The episode exposed the tangled web of modern trade policy and its far-reaching consequences. The nation faced a long road to economic normalcy. The Supreme Court's ruling forced a reckoning over presidential power and trade. Congress moved to clarify and limit emergency authorities, aiming to prevent future unilateral trade actions. The episode became a flashpoint in political debate, shaping the 2026 midterms and beyond. The administration now faced the challenge of rebuilding trust with global partners and restoring America's leadership in a rules-based order. Repairing supply chains and lowering prices would take time. The economic landscape had permanently shifted. Businesses learned hard lessons about the risks of global interdependence and policy unpredictability. The U.S. must now balance domestic interests with global responsibilities, grounded in constitutional principles. The world is watching to see if America can pivot from confrontation to cooperation. The Supreme Court's decision offers a chance for course correction if leaders seize it. The future of American leadership and global stability hangs in the balance.